We make up Popup Asylum. We made the company back in 2012. We wanted to enter the Edge Create Challenge for Edge magazine, and we first created Sanity's Edge, which it got placed best of the rest, which was pretty cool, and it kind of set us on the path to making more games. This is Unity and the web player. Mark's going to have a little play. The game basically is you're trying to collect these orbs inside this maze of cubes, and if you to get around, you have to kind of rotate the cubes. Which was kind of fun, and it's a little bit twisty. But I guess I won't go into why we made it, or how. It's very old. It's very, very old, and I guess it kind of set us in a good stead. But Mark made this a fantastic little system at the end of it, where you basically shows you that you're inside a Rubik's Cube and you have to solve the Rubik's Cube. I think that's kind of why we got placed. And we have a little video of the ending somewhere.
And so as you go through, you collect these 40 orbs.
Yeah.
And the more orbs you collect, the harder it gets to find the next one, because you've rotated the cube so much you get lost. So
yeah,
this was a really bad time.
It was terrible. But it shows you how you solve the cube at the end. So it's like it logs everything you do as you're playing and then replays it. Not that fast usually.
That's what because I did some calls.
So that was our first. Yeah, sorry. Don't want to get anyone to play this. It was a bit of fun, and that set us on a good stead. So from there we entered again. Actually, we spent a year developing another game and scrapped it, just because I guess you learn so much. But our next game, we just entered for the same competition, 6 weeks, build a game. We didn't get placed at all. But the game itself was Look Out Below. We kind of built it from the beginning. We kind of aimed for it to be on Android and to be more than just a web player game. It's now published, it's on Google Play Store. And very similar to Fee's kind of system, not by any means as complicated as it was a 6-week build. The game generates the level for you as you go. But we built a generator for it, and we laid out each section, and as you play through, it just populates up the level in front of you, which is, I guess, kind of clever, and I think Mark's probably the best person to explain how that works.
If you go into one of our levels, we've got all of the sort of tiles for that particular kind of level set are all instantiated already. Just like a system of 5 foreground tiles for each background tile.
The game's basically you're a pilot of a plane. Your plane's lost an engine, and you have to throw your cargo out the back to keep yourself up. So it's a little bit like Jetpack Joyride. And so we ended up with these vast kind of levels, and you're trying to keep yourself in the air. And it's a really simple little game, but it's the way that we built it and the way that it loads all of the pieces and just reorders them. You only have one load for the entire campaign, and it's just reusing. And because unlike we've laid out each section, we decided this was going to be a chunk of game. We could light map it, we could use all of Unity's tools and use all of Unity's benefits, but we didn't have to we didn't have to worry about there being problems down the line. We knew what it looked like because we kind of constrained ourselves a little bit. That's because it's an Android game. It's a quick bit of fun.
And we're using the Unity Indie, so we're not the static batching anyway, so it made sense for us to have everything dynamic.
Well, that's the game.
Yeah, so we're playing it. It's basically everything in the game, because we're targeting Android, is reused. We never generate a new granny. It's all the same granny being chucked over and over and over again. So as you actually
it's like the object pooling.
Yeah. So we have this base class that everything's based on, which keeps marking objects as busy, and then once it's not busy anymore, it's gone off screen, it kind of puts it back into the pool. And it's all kind of management-less. There's no manager. Every prefab kind of handles its own instances of itself, which is quite handy for working in the way Unity wants, where you say just instantiate a prefab. You don't have to worry about having a manager in the scene or things and keeping track of everything.
Can I ask how many objects are in the game itself at runtime when you're on the device? Do they all load, and how do you manage that then?
All the tiles load at the start, and we pre-populate 10.
There's quite a lot of stuff to have in.
Yeah.
So it's
if we need an extra granny, we've done that 6 grannies in a row, we then instantiate another granny. And you reach a bit of an equilibrium because as management, we've got no kind of limits, no going for it to say stop instantiating at this point. We kind of reach this equilibrium where it starts balancing. We've got enough items to carry on playing, but there's a slightly another what if someone starts dumping everything out at the same time and we just instantiate 1 million of the same item, but it's not happened with them. I've not had any issues.
One of our big kind of ideals, I guess you could say, when making games is to develop tools, very handy, very useful, reusable tools. And that's why we like Unity, because the asset store's there. If someone's already built it, we just buy it if we need to, or we can try and make it ourselves, because it's all very, well, Mark can make it himself. I'm the creative guy, Mark's the brains. So we, and the other part, which we really enjoy, is the fact that if we make a tool that is good and other people do want it, we can then sell it. That's a big part of our, moving forward. As we make bigger games, we intend to fund our games from generating tools and selling tools. And then as the game comes together at the end, hopefully it will have paid for itself. And then we can just, it's all pure profit after that. We've read a lot of stories about people who have generated, they've made tools and they've never made the game because they make so much money from the tools that they're constantly just managing them. And that, I think I'd rather make the games, but
Isn't that how Unity started? They were going to make a game, weren't they? They decided to build an engine instead, and that was better, so they just carried on doing that.
Gooball is the game.
Oh yeah, that was right.
Nobody's ever heard of it or played it, which is why it became an engine.
So we've put together a little pack as well. It includes the level generator and some of the tools we've used, a bunch of assets we never got around to actually using. We're going to put them on the asset store anyway. So we're going to put that in a blog maybe tomorrow morning. We were intending to do it on lunch today, but we were working through lunch. Just a side point, Mark and I, we work at the same company. All the guys in the corner here, we work for a marketing agency. So this is entirely done in our free time. We built this game 6 weeks in our free time, and then we spent another 3 months perfecting it. But this is the level generator. These are some old assets that we just built. We don't need them, so we're going to give them away. And this will just keep. Will keep going forever. We'll just keep making, reusing these assets, and I figure for anyone that's a good start for a game right there. I mean, we made, humorously we say we made 2 games in the last week using our tools. This being one of them, you could put anything in the sky there and have to fly around, and and the other game we'll show you in a second, which is just a bit of fun. But that's something we're going to give away. You can adjust the time, you can change those playlists around, look at the code, learn whatever you would like. This is all Mark, it's nothing to do with me, it's not pretty stuff. But the second tool that I guess we're going to hopefully release in the next few months, I guess, is it's called PA Path. It's a Bezier path system. It's quite a complete tool, and you can use it to create geometry, you can use it to animate across. In the marketing agency we work for, it's one of our most used tools for apps and movies all the time. But this was, Mark made this on his lunch. Obviously not the assets, but he made it on his lunch on Tuesday and Monday. Essentially, if you actually look at the side, the path's moving, it's animating, and you literally just it's like a click, create, and go kind of system. And we're hopefully going to put that on the asset store. No idea how much yet, but that'll be available fairly soon, I think. And then hopefully that can then generate a bit of money so that we can start thinking about our next project, which we're going to talk about in a little bit if we have time.
So that was like about an hour. Path was more than an hour, but actually like building a game with this sort of dynamic mesh was about an hour yesterday. I can be on a project at a time. Or you can bake it. You can dump the computation going on.
And so I guess finally, looking forward, this will be the first time we've talked about this project at all to anyone. Even in the office, I think a few people may have seen some screenshots or some work in progress bits and pieces. But our next game is it's a big project. For us, it's a story-driven adventure game. It's going to be fun to work on. We've already started building assets. We've written pages and pages and pages of backstory to every little character and every little detail. And that's codenamed Shamen. We're thinking about the tools now, and that's where it comes down to. It's all going to be very tool focused to make the game as easy for us as possible, and also to utilise the fact that Unity has so much available to us. We're already looking. Like, so this is my brain dumping on the design process. You don't necessarily have to read that at all. But a few key points, I guess, for us thinking forward were visually how to get a game together so quickly. We don't have a lot of time. So for all of this image reference, everything that we've gathered from the game was gathered by other people who we're aiming our game towards by using Tumblr and Pinterest. I would just follow people, and if I like what they pin or they post up, I just download it, chuck it in our folder. There's been no time spent trawling the internet or trying to work out what I want to do, and that was the first step into kind of really streamlining this process. Next, designing. We just drew out this character. Photoshop, we've got this one character, we'll then just rechange the face. All of this design work straight onto the same mesh, all chucked straight into Unity on the same rig, same animations. That'll be nice and quick. So that's our final character. This is the sculpt, a work in progress, and that's probably going to come out the next week. Same again with reference there. Once again, kind of an idea of where we're going with it. And finally, the real kind of fun part for us, tools. So Mark has Maya Artist tools, which is a big ongoing thing. Well, I use Maya. Mark's actually an artist as well. He's a trained artist who codes. So Maya Artist tools is literally everything that I do inside Maya, it instantly plugs straight into Unity. We tag everything, and the tags come across any animation, anything you might think you might have to reanimate in Unity. We've got it so that it just pipelines straight in, and it really works. It saves us hours and hours and hours of work. The PA path, again, it's animation modeling. It will save us so much time. And we have a little bit of an IV generator, which is really, it's completely theoretical at the moment, but it's the idea is to drop a node, generates IV. Generates IV on anything we need. It doesn't have to be IV, it can be anything at all. Those are our three key kind of tools we're going to generate. We're going to create what Mark's going to create. I come up with the ideas and Mark will do this, and that they'll pay for the development of the game. And the main costs of the game will be music. It will be animations, because we want to use Maximo for the character, for all character animation. We've already tested. The great thing about Unity being we create a base mesh for a character, we can chuck it through the Maximo rigger, and it's a rigged character, we can see it running, and then we just know, okay, we need to generate this much money to pay for this many animations. And it just streamlines the entire process, and that's entirely due to Unity. I think we're done. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
That's really cool, but you're small indie, so how are you going to market that?
How are we marketing it?
Yeah, how are you going to make money?
Make money? Well, yeah, the tool itself, they'll pay for the game. The idea being probably at some point we will.
We're going to set up a Kickstarter just to see if we can get around it, but.
Do you need a Kickstarter to do that? You've got to
I think the reason we're on Kickstarter is because I do feel limited. With all the indie stuff, we kind of do find a way to work around it. Like, if you look out below, we did develop our own sort of static patching equivalent, but then we found like the video memory went through the roof just because of all the meshes that we batched. And like missing out on just those core features like render texture, it's going to have like a serious impact on the visuals of the game. So having a Kickstarter might just get us stuff on it to get YouTube Pro and then whatever else we need.
Yeah. It's quite funny to ask two people who work in marketing how they're going to market the game. No way. Yeah.
Good strategy.
The idea will be, it's going to be a couple of years in development. We're going to be sitting there, we're going to be pushing the game, we're going to be changing the game a lot. We want to include other developers, the community, in major choices in the game. And I think that's where being indie kind of really makes a big difference. I mean, we're making this game because we want to make the game. To be honest, if we can generate enough money to make the game and have a really good time doing it, then and it doesn't sell, then we've lost nothing other than a bit of time, and we've had a great time. And I think that's why we started making games, and that's probably why even if we make this game and it sells well, we'll still probably carry on working in marketing, because that's also an incredibly challenging industry. And for the company we work for, the way we use Unity on a daily basis, for them, we're learning new skills and building tools all the time, which we use at work. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. But
do you have any concerns that you're building all these assets and models, putting them in an asset store in your own games, that there's just going to be hundreds of clones of your game, thousands of students out there?
None of the assets we will use in anything. Like, we won't put any of the Look Out Below assets on the asset store. We've built, I guess in total, 2 games that are final, and a further 2 games which got scrapped. All the assets from the 2 games that got scrapped will end up on the asset store. The stuff you saw there, the sci-fi war-torn kind of area stuff, that's going to give away for free, because it was what, 2 months maybe of work. It was nothing of just in our free time. We have another game which actually was a nearly finished game called Shark Escape, and that was at the time when we were about to release it. Like 2 other clones, almost identical games came out. We thought, well, it's not that good of a game, not really. We basically, that game built PA Pop. That was where it started.
So do you normally have the tools driving the game design, or do you have a game design driving the tools?
I think for this one, it's going to be more even sort of or more tools driving the game, but for the previous ones it's like, do we need this? Let's make this.
Yeah. I mean, PA Path was not a thing for a long time, wasn't it? It was just something we used.
That's because we needed a fish to be able to go like that.
Yeah.
So,
It's basically, I mean, with Look Out Below and Shark Escape, both games were 2.5D using 3D assets, but they were 2D games essentially, mainly because they're using touchscreen. 2D makes sense unless you try and use it as a control pad, which we don't really like. So, yeah. Any more questions?
Right, massive round of applause.